Namaste and welcome to this exciting new episode of Sathology Debunking Mythology. Sat means truth and Logos means a study or science. Sathology means a science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology. Myth means in Sanskrit is a root word for mithya, mithyankar. Mithya is a word, not a dhatu. So, but a dhatu is myth, just like for the yoga, the dhatu is yuj. Yujyate, yukta, yoga, all these are come from one word. Similarly, there's a bhaj dhatu. So Sanskrit is built on dhatu. The faith-based colonialists who came to India to civilize the Indians, they very cleverly picked up a Sanskrit dhatu and a Latin word called logos, just like they constructed biology, which is the study or science of biodiversity. And bio is also a root word in Latin, which has a different connotation altogether. We'll discuss later on. So mythology means a science of fake or study of fake, lie, or imagination. It's very ironical. I've been saying this for the past couple of shows that they do not use the word mythology for any of their Abrahamic faiths, any of them, for any history. Only for the history of the natives. I'll give you an example. The entire native history of South Americans is called mythology on Wikipedia because it's the official designation in the Western academic circles. Same is the entire native history of Native Americans. Their worship standards, their faith, their rituals, everything is called mythology. In fact, you will see many Hollywood movies making fun of Native Americans, their culture, their belief, everything they stood for. Same thing happened with Aborigines in Australia. Most Australians won't like it, but that's a fact that Aborigines were treated worse than animals. Kangaroos had more rights than Aborigines. Now they've started to change because of international pressure. The country of Aborigines has become the country of ex-British residents, you can say. Now, this has happened all over the place. So mythology was an academic conspiracy to call all ancient histories as fake. Only purpose was to sell their philosophy and control the land. Today we have done many shows on Ramayana. We have conclusively proved the location of Lanka and we have proved the dates of Ramayana many times. We've done it. And we have also proved and more things we are discovering. Today we are going to talk about the existing fake narrations about Ramayana which have attacked the faith of many. I won't say destroyed because nobody's faith can get destroyed in Ram, such a beautiful character. But they have attempted. But what we get out of this is when we know Sri Ram, then we live our life in a purposeful, strong way, with a strong identity. And if you don't know Ram, then we are a fodder for somebody else's idea. So I have a very special guest today. He has written a book, The Last Decision. I like the name. And we met him suddenly through, we got contacted. And I like the title. And I like the way it is being debunking the existing narration. So we'll straight away get into the topic. So without delay, let us welcome Sri Chanchal Malviya.
Namaste, Aditya ji.
Namaskar.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Very good attempt, Chanchal ji. It's a great attempt that you're bringing a very specific topic, which is very good nowadays. There is a lot of attack against Sanatan Dharma's history, mostly. And it is an academic attack. So the answer has to be academic. Because somebody has to simplify for the people, right? So you're doing that great work. So, Chanchalji, when we say Sri Ram and you were telling me some narrations about Sita's, how it makes him a complete avatar. So before we begin there's a lot of controversy about Uttarkand being added later on. What is your view on that?
Yeah, Aditya ji, first of all, I must congratulate you for having started this wonderful initiative of Sathology. And I'm very hopeful that very soon we will see this idea of mythology that is imposed on Bharat fading away and Satyology taking over it. So I congratulate you for that. Coming to your question, see, Uttarakhand, primarily there are two things in Uttarakhand, two events in Uttarakhand, which people are unable to fathom or understand, or probably the questions framed around those two events are such that people today are unable to answer those questions, and hence they are probably taking a protective step that this particular chapter has been added on later. Even if I assume that it has been added on later, and I presume that those conditions which are added, Sita had stayed in Lanka for around more than 6 months, so we will not accept her. That is one area. And why did Sri Ram already took Agni Pariksha? Then why did he?
Chanjalji, can you? I'll edit the whole. Have the team edit it. You have to repeat the whole answer. You after you spoke about Satyology, you got blank. There's no voice coming from you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So you can start on the book on the Uttarakhand, like where you left off. I couldn't hear anything.
Okay. I think there was a phone call, so that probably disrupted.
Yeah.
So I will come from there. Uttarakhand.
Yes, continue. Yes, please.
See, Uttarakhand is the chapter where the character of Ravan has been elaborated. If you go through Valmiki Ramayana, nowhere throughout the Ramayana, the characterization of Ravan has taken place. If we want to know who is Ravan, if we want to understand why Ram was determined to kill him, we have to read Uttarakhand. But in the same Uttarakhand, there are two events which probably raises such questions which generation today are unable to answer. One event is Sri Ram sent Sita to Valmiki ashram when she was pregnant, just because some people raised question on her character. So this is one question which people are not able to answer. The second question is, why did Sri Ram kill Shambhuk? Shambhuk is a person which today's generation, or not today's generation, but a certain group of people whom we call probably leftists, they have manipulated a theory that he was of a lower caste. This lower and higher caste, all these things are recent evolution in our country. In fact, it doesn't appear in our scriptures anywhere as lower and upper. But their angle of looking at particular event is like Sri Ram being of upper caste, he killed a lower caste person. These two events have, because people have not come forward to look deeper into it, and they have probably not able to answer it with appropriate logic and conviction, they came up with a theory that this chapter has been added later on. But I am sorry, if we remove this chapter, we will never know how bad a character Ravan was. This is what I understand, and that is why I say I have the conviction that this chapter is part of whole Valmiki Ramayana. Nothing has been added over there. We need to look deeper into the character of Ram to answer these two questions.
No, beautifully put across, because in every single debate I have seen, they introduce the caste topic. Caste is a Portuguese word. You have done a good research, and we have already seen in Valmiki Ramayana that Dashrath himself used to serve Shudra, Vaishya in the Rishishringa ceremony where a yajna was being performed to invite Sri Ram on the planet. Everybody he was serving, and he himself was serving, personally serving, and there was no discrimination. Everybody was sitting together. So this caste angle has been deliberately introduced. You absolutely hit the ballpoint there. that is deliberately introduced, and it's a conspiracy to just to demean the literatures. Valmiki was not from a the caste is a Portuguese word. I don't even want to call it. Now we talk about Varna.
Aditya, there is one point I would like to add to your this conspiracy theory. In my book, I have mentioned that conspiracies are done only against strong people, not against weak people. Like Julius Caesar is a very strong king, so there is a conspiracy done by Cassius. Sri Ram is so strong that there is no other way for anybody to defeat him other than conspiracy. Conspiracy is the weakness of the opposition. So Manthara and Kaikeyi conspirates to send him to jungle. Then Ravan himself, who is considered to be very powerful, he himself conspires against him with the help of Marich. And even today, because Sri Ram is so strong in our mind, emotions, culture, his foundation of this nation, anti-nationals has to conspire against him to probably attempt to defeat. But again, Sri Ram has always emerged as a winner. He will again.
Another great
We will
point.
again. Right,
Another
right,
great point, Chanchalji. Very
right.
good point. Because Sri Ram's character is so powerful. Not only he's a great warrior, but he has personally maintained a very high standard of morality as a Vishnu's avatar here. Now, when we come to you had mentioned very good points about Sita Mai. A lot of fake news is being spread about that Ram left Sita, and you mentioned a very good point that he was a hero, and then he proved himself like an avatar, Vishnu's avatar. What is that point you want to make in your book?
See, this is a very deep question. I will take some time to answer this.
Please take it. Yes.
Yeah. See, I have divided the book into three parts. To answer this particular question, we have to understand Ram's character, which is the first part of my book. Ram's character as a leader. Now, the journey of Ram from Ayodhya to Lanka, all he has done is he has emerged as a world leader. No, he did so many things. We all know the events and episodes of Ramayana. Coming back to Ayodhya, he is sitting at a position where beyond leader, he has to display his decision-making abilities. Now there is a situation. You have to understand the situation. Situation is Ram has already accepted Sita. She is pregnant, and probably Ram is very happy with her. And then one sudden day he calls some of his friends and asks them, "Are people happy, and are they happy with our family, our position, and whatever is happening in the kingdom? You are my friend, personal friends. Only you can tell me truth. Ministers will not tell me." And those friends, they told very clearly, outrightly, they told Sri Ram that people are not happy and they are not accepting Ma Sita as their queen or mother queen. They believe Ravan is a very bad character. And how come if she stays there for 6 months, she is protected? They are not ready to believe the theory of Agni Pariksha also. Probably Ram was a visionary, so he did Agni Pariksha. He knew that people would raise all those kind of questions. So when this question came, Sri Ram, he went into a very deep thought. I have tried to create some fiction in my book to answer this question. He goes into a very deep thought, and then he thinks that if he has to give justice to Sita, he have to prove that she is a very honorable lady, and if he has to make Ayodhya also a very peaceful, keep Ayodhya also in a very peaceful state, progressive state, people not revolting against him or against it or talking such gossiping such negative things, he has to take a step which will probably be remembered throughout the history. And that is why he did that. Now, in the book, I have tried to create a fiction. Like when he takes this decision and asks Lakshman to go take Sita to Valmiki ashram, near about Valmiki ashram, he knew he was very sure that he is going to send Sita to a very safe place, and that is Valmiki ashram, and he sends over there. So Lakshman asks him questions. Then Bharat comes in. Bharat asks. Then Kaikai, Kausalya, all the family members comes in and raises question, why are you doing this? And then Sugriv, Vibhishan, and Hanuman, they also come and they meet Sri Ram in the court, and they raise the question, why are you doing this? Now the questions are very deep. The questions is much deeper than what people are raising today in my book. Like I will give you two examples. Bharat says, it is you have spent 14 years in jungle. I have spent 14 years an ascetic life. Lakshman has not slept for 14 years. Ma Kaikeyi and Kausalya has been weeping all these years, and we all had more pain for the condition of Sita than for you, because she is a woman who has gone to jungle with you. And now, when she is pregnant, we are about to enjoy this moment that this kingdom is going to get their princess. You have again sent her to exile. What is the point? So these are the questions. It's not like he sent Sita to exile and he is not an ideal person. Not like a leftist kind of question. Real logical questions asked by these people to Sri Ram. Now Sugriv comes in. See, he asks him, I fought a war to release my Sita. I didn't fight to win over Lanka or defeat Ravan. I fought for to get Sita get released. And now, what was the point if you were about to throw her out? So these were now Vibhishan also comes. We are the evidence. We are the people before whom you did the Agni Pariksha, and she came out to be a pure lady. And again, there is a question on her. At least you know that she is pure. You have to take a stand for her. Now, this is so all the questions that I framed to create. Now I had to take this fiction of bringing all those people and asking questions to Ram, because I had to frame real questions around this particular event. And then Ram is answering everyone logically. Like I will take two case studies. Like for Bharat, he says that when we met in Chitrakoot, you had come to ask me to return to Ayodhya. Our father had collapsed. Now I denied to come back, because I knew that if I go back, then probably people would say, if you went there and your father died, the whole drama had killed your father. There's no point in going. So I could not come back. But Sita was with me. I didn't leave Sita. Now, if I don't honor the verdict of those people, my own people, same people will say, your lust for Sita is higher than your love for your father, because you could leave your father in a very ill sick state, and still you took your wife with you to jungle, and now you are ready to bunk your subjects and still go remain and take side of your wife. So all the time you are having wife with you. So this question will devalue all the great works done by Sri Ram and his brothers and his family and his wife. So he had no option at that point of time. Later on, I will take another example. When Sita herself asks Sri Ram, okay, as a king, you probably took that decision, but as a person, you know that I'm your wife, I'm honest. Why should I suffer for the questions people are asking? Now he tells Sita over here, see, people already see me as an ideal king, as an ideal brother, as an ideal warrior. So many idealism is associated with me. But there is one thing which I would have failed to be an ideal, that is an ideal father, had I not done this particular thing. Because people had rejected you, believing that you are corrupt. In that case, they will not accept our sons as their princes. In that case, I will not do justice with the children that I am supposed to bring, just because I want to remain with you physically, right? So I had no option than to send you to exile, or probably separate these two opposing the forces. One is you and one are the people, and when separation is there, friction is less, and friction is when friction is less, then I can settle down the issue. And we all know that the issue was settled down later on. So that Sri Ram's decision not only gave justice to his sons, he also protected the dignity of Sita. Now there is very one interesting thing in Valmiki Ramayana. When he sent Sita to exile, he didn't say, he didn't give any reason to Sita why he is doing so. He suddenly, abruptly asked Lakshman to go and simply drop her. I don't want to meet her also. The reason was he didn't wanted Sita to know this particular issue, because he knew that she is a woman of such a high dignity that she will not, there itself she will give her life. She will not survive. So we have seen that women in our country, they for them dignity was higher than life. That is why we have seen so much Jawhar getting committed after Islamic invasion in this country, because for them dignity was higher than their life. Otherwise they knew they will be sold out to different people in harems and all those things. So that is just 300-400 years ago. This country had women had so much dignity. Now consider those days, which was a Treta Yug, where dharma was all prevailing, and at that time Sita and or anybody, any other woman, their dignity was higher than life, and to protect that dignity, Sri Ram had to take this decision.
Great points, and I think it really you said it very correctly that conspiracy is done against strong people, and the character of Ram, if people try to assassinate, actually it's like a diamond. When you get a diamond from an iron ore or ores, the more you polish it, the more value increases, and gradually I think these people are doing the work of that Johari. They are trying to put all kinds of allegations against the character of Sri Ram, but actually Ram is shining more. And like you said, very, very, very accurately. One of the things which I also ask people, if that is that for Sita, Sri Ram built a 100 yojana bridge, which was 10 yojana wide. And yojana, anyone can search on Google how much it is longer. Rough estimates is 8 miles, rough estimate. He built an army of Vanaras, very special Vanaras, of huge army to fight with him. All the trouble he took to get her back. And that was, she was under captivity of Ravan for 10 months. 11th month, Hanuman met, and I think by 11th month, Sri Ram also reached there. So all these endeavors he took to get her back, and people ignore all these things before they jump on the aspect which you said. So my next question to you is, what is a direct answer to all these mythologists and the conspiracy theorists and also attackers? These are academic attackers against the faith of billions of people. See, Sri Ram and Ramayana spread is more than Mahabharata also. We all know. It has gone to every single continent on the planet, whether it's a search for Sita, and all those locations are still existing. Exactly. Yavadvip is Java, Sumatra, which we call it in English, because in most of the European Latin languages, J is pronounced as ya. So why this conspiracy? What is the mindset of these people who make these kind of allegations? One thing I can already answer you, that they are not educated. That's what I can say. Education, in my sense, is focusing on the facts, and they have not read it. That means they're not educated yet. What is your viewpoint?
See, the reason I'm working on Gurukul is that I have realized that early ages, probably up to 12 years or 14 years of age, the way you shape up the mind, it becomes your sanskar, and that your whole thought process, aligns to the way you have created the emotions in these early periods. Our education system, they have eliminated all the study materials that are related to our culture and identity, including Ramayana, Mahabharata, or any other scriptures, and whatever they have mentioned is all negative. This is one of the prime thing that people who thinks they are educated, they actually attack all these things, and probably not very much intentionally, but they are probably shaped up like this because of this education system. The only way out is we have to ask them to study these things deeply, which they will not, right? So I have made few 2-3 points on this. Like, to understand, history is very important for me. Now, to understand, let's say, Aditya, I need to know history of Aditya. I don't need to know the future of Aditya, right? It's so simple.
That's right.
So to understand Sri Ram, when he takes a decision at the point of sending Sita to exile, you have to understand the whole journey of Sri Ram first. Only then you will be able to understand why he took that decision. Now there is a comparative of this era and that era. This is an era where life is more important than dignity, whether it is men or women, doesn't matter, right? This idea of feminism is all about defeating the dignity of a woman. It is not about improving the dignity of a woman, to give them a life which is probably fulfilling of desires, right? So that was an era where dignity was higher than life, as I told you earlier. Now this is an era where there is a lifestyle to fulfill the desires. That was an era where there was a lifestyle for self-control. Sri Ram is not fulfilling his desires. He is all self-controlled. For him, pleasure or pain are same. Bed of rock or palatial extravagance are same. It doesn't matter where he is, right? He is such a equipoised person, in fact. So that era is different. This era is different. No, I must say that these people who claim so much, intellectuality, they have failed to establish one theory or one formula through which personality of a person by default can evolve, or culturally, or probably it can become a very attractive, very impressive, very impactful personality. They have failed to produce such a system or formula. Ramayana or character of Ram is such that if you go through Ramayana, it is so, touches the emotions so deeply that your personification automatically happens.
Yep.
You don't have to take a lot of effort to do it. Another point I want to add over here, that we want to teach children so many values, and we have so many different stories being taught to preach those values, and children often follows those stories. We ourselves have forgotten those stories. Ramayana is one story, single line story, which has integrated all the values you want to look into. So this personality, if when we call Purushottam, if you go through Valmiki Ramayana, there is a samvad between Valmiki and Narad Muni, where they are detailing the personalities, different kind of personalities of a person who is at a state of perfection, who inspires these two great saints to produce a record of history. So they have listed down around 21 different personality traits of Sri Ram. Again, if you come to Bhagavad Gita, this 15th chapter is about Purushottam Yoga. There, Bhagavan Krishna, he puts it in a more simplified form in three things that are required for a person to become Purushottam. He should not have ahanta, he should not have mamta, and he should not have vasana. Very, very simply, he told, if any person, if he doesn't have these three things, he's a Purushottam. Now, these are the formulas. I'm not going into details of these things. It's there in my book. But these are the formulas which are so effective and which are time tested. From thousands of years, we have been producing so many heroes and such a peaceful society, such a progressive society, people of such high personalities, whether they are living in village or in cities. We have successfully delivered these things because we have a foundation of Ramayana. Now, if we remove this, we have failed from education system point of view, from these intellectuals theories point of view. So there is no answer to Ramayana. They must accept it. This is my viewpoint.
You mentioned the conversations there. Most of the answers or the doubts of conspiracy theories, Ramayana is written in such a perfect way, are answered in Ramayana itself. The problem comes in commentaries, and the interpretations. Because if you have lack of understanding of Sanskrit, admit it, but don't claim that you are a scholar. Because Sanskrit is Ramayana Sanskrit is simpler than Mahabharata Sanskrit. If people read it, then they'll find out.
Correct.
But Krishna's words in Mahabharata, in Gita, are the simplest ones. It's so surprising. Immediately you see three Sanskrits here. One is Mahabharata Sanskrit, which is written by Ganeshji, and Valmiki and Bharadwaj are writing, the Bharadwaj assisted Valmiki in writing Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana. And that Sanskrit is so easy. But when it comes to Sri Ram speaking, Sanskrit quality changes. Now, if anyone has read it carefully, then they will not make that mistake. Like why Ram came down, why Sita was kidnapped, why Ravana was only scared of humans, Manushya. That's why he was living in an island. And his upper territory went up to Janasthan, which is Nashik today. And his influence was Simhaladesh, Lanka, all these different islands are mentioned. In the Surya Siddhanta also is mentioned, and there also is mentioned. But when you do not read carefully, and plus you are not guided by a tradition, like for example, if I am running a school of law, I have to see everything from a perspective of law. So my point of view changes, and you're an engineer yourself. So if you study engineering or any specific aspect of engineering, say computer science, you'll start with the theory of the microcomputers and how the bits and bytes are functioning. So you're looking at a particular perspective. But when it comes to Ramayana, we ignore the traditions. All the great traditions of India, they are maintaining it. Madhvacharya, Shri, there's so many sampradayas, Adi Sankaracharya also. So how important is the knowledge of traditions for understanding these facts accurately?
See, Aditya, if someone was telling me that we Bharatiya doesn't have the culture of recording history. And probably all these historical records have come from these people who have come from the West, and they have probably set this trend of reading and studying and recording history and all these things. Now, I told him, how long you can maintain this kind of history? 100 years, 200 years, 400 years, 500 years. Beyond that, probably this history that you are claiming will fail to exist.
They get debunked within 3 years.
Right, yes. Right. But we have successfully, you don't know how deep this Ramayana is. You are still to establish it is 5,000 year old or 10,000 or 1 lakh or 5 lakh or 10 lakh. You don't know. You are still to establish that. But we have successfully, we have retained the historical, not only records and all those things, but the whole scripture we have successfully sustained it. So there is two things. One is like when we talk, I mean you already have done a lot of presentations on this historical aspect of Ramayana, but if you go through the event also, as you just mentioned, that upper limit of Ravan's territory was around Nasik and all. It is evident from Balkand itself. When Ram has killed Subahu, Marich fled to the territory of Kiskindha.
That's right.
which is probably ruled by Bali, who is Ravan's friend. So Bali is allowing his people to come and live over there. Khardushan is in that territory. Surpnakha is in that territory. So Mari fled from. He didn't go and live nearby. He fled and remained there in Bali's territory. So there is lot of logical things, and that is lot of very evidential thing that are there in Ramayana. Ram Setu is a living evidence. We don't need any. No, I want to point one thing over here. These people named it as Adam's Bridge, right? They call it Adam's Bridge. They
In
don't call it Ram Setu.
1872. In 1872.
Huh?
In 1872. Very
Huh?
recently.
Whatever they call it Adam's Bridge. No, this is a suicide for them. I tell fine. If you call Adam's Bridge, Adam is the first person who came on earth, then Adam is a Bharatiya
That's right.
because that bridge is over here, right? So he's a Hindu. The theory is, so they should not commit this suicide of calling it as Adam's Bridge. It is
Great
Ram's Bridge. Ramayana is the only book which talks about that particular bridge, making of that construction of that particular bridge, which exists today. And probably there was a movement to break this bridge in 2009, and that was the point when I got inspired and motivated to look into Ramayana deeper, in fact. So it is Ram Setu that gave me the confidence to wholeheartedly accept it more than 100% that it is history. It cannot be fiction at all.
No, good point you said. Very good point, because people do not know the history of Adams Bridge when it was renamed. And you said it right. It's a virtual suicide. See, the point of this, all these fake theorists and the people who hate Ramayana to large extent, is that they hate it without any brains. Like for example, there's a very famous incident where Varun, the devta for oceans, he says, "Don't throw your arrow here. Throw in the northwest direction, where a lot of Rakshas live and misuse my territory." Now, from there to northwest, you see, when he releases the weapon arrow, because his arrow never misses the mark, then many islands become devoid of greenery, and then he gives them a blessing also. Sri Ram gives them a blessing that even though they will have that kind of terrain, but they'll be very healthy because of sun. He gives them a blessing, and we can see that today also, northwest from the Mahendragiri, south of Mahendragiri, from there. So all these facts are also mentioned there. Now coming back to this question,
one more point is over here. Dhanush Kodi, from where he sent, he fired that particular weapon, it still has very rich deposit of thorium, which is that it is a nuclear source. So that connects probably that the power that was used to by Sri Ram.
Yeah, personally I don't get into those kind of details, but it is important to note which you said. Very good to note thorium. I don't get into such details because I know that Sri Ram's arrow has a power. I know that. So I don't get into the details over there for a reason, because the more details you go, the more you get chance to the mythologists to start saying something else.
Correct.
So there is no point going there. Coming to the last question, people generally accuse, and I think that's the point of a book also, The Last Chance. People give the reason that Sri Ram acted against women, and he was not against you. So how do you answer to those people who make that kind of allegation?
There was only one woman in Sri Ram's life. Okay, Sita. So acting against women doesn't qualify. This question doesn't qualify. So he worked against his wife. Okay, that can. That
and only one. He had many other chances. He was a very good-looking person.
Right. Now there is two things. These same people, they say that the brother should be like Ravan, and they give example of Surpnakha. They miss out this point. It is Ravan who killed Surpnakha's husband, his sister's husband, and this detail is in Uttarakhand. So we cannot, overlook Uttarakhand. Because the detail is in Uttarakhand. So Ravan respects women, and Ram probably doesn't respect women, or he works against women. I don't know from how this question is logical at all. In fact, because Ravan killed Bali to protect women, wife of Sugriv. Sri Ram killed Bali because Bali had, forcibly kept Sugriv's wife. So he wanted to protect the dignity of a woman. So he killed Bali. He didn't even give a second thought. He simply killed him. He killed Ravan because Ravan was an abuser of women, not because he has very deep enmity with Ravan, or also for any personal reason. Because he was an abuser of women, Sri Ram killed Ravan. And to protect Sita's dignity, he had to send her to exile. But he made sure that he lives a more painful and ascetic life than Sita would. Sita was still there with her children. Her children was anyway supposed to live in ashram and grow up and get their education. So he didn't do injustice with Sita or his children. He was taking the pain on himself by living an ascetic life, continuing to live an ascetic life, even in his own palace. It is easy to live an ascetic life in jungle. It is not easy to live an ascetic life in a palatial building. So we cannot. This question that you said doesn't apply at all to Sri Ram.
Great point, and I think I was just laughing at very, see, with just logic and reasoning you can defeat these points actually which they mentioned. And people who are saying that Ravan was greater son of a Brahman, all these things are saying he was a Brahman, but actually in our culture karma defines who is a Brahman, not just birth is called Brahma Bandhu, friend of a Brahman. If he is not acting like his karma is not accordingly. So if somebody says Ravan was a great man, I have one question: do you like to worship a rapist? Very hard. Do you like to worship? Nobody likes those kind of people. Ravan was exactly that kind of character.
And he was not a learned man also. Gita, if you read the 13th chapter in Gita, Gyan has been defined by 20 characteristics. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, Arjavam. Amanitvam means a person who is not worried about, man or name and fame and all those kind of gimmicks of showing respect and all those, seeking respect and all those things. He's not worried about all those things. That is Amanitvam. Is Ravan of that character? He is not. So the condition of Gyan fails. Adambitvam. Ravan is all dumb. He enforces his thoughts and desires and all those things on all other people. He's not Adambitvam. Ahimsa. Ravan is fully, he is fully hinsak, violent person. He is not ahimsa. Shanti, he forgives, he doesn't. So all those characteristics of Gyan, for a person to qualify as a Gyani, Ravan doesn't qualify there. Still, there is a narrative that Ravan is a Gyani person, Gyani Purush. There is but rightly you said he is a rapist, and we know the history from we don't need to discuss it out over here. And he lost track of being a Brahmin son. And here is an angle of that to answer that casteism part. He is a Brahmin, but the nation doesn't worship. Brahmin by birth, but the nation doesn't worship. Nation celebrates the killing of that person, not So there is no casteism or those theories that has ever been a part of our culture. We always respected great people from whatever roots they have come from,
and
including Valmiki, right?
Including Valmiki. All our rishis are like that. Right. Adi Sankaracharya, Narad Muni, all our great sages are. So the word casteism is European word, casta, Portuguese word casta, and so Western world has a caste system. Not the Varna doesn't have caste. Varna is purely based on qualification. Now, my last one, I would like to speak to you longer because it's just such a wonderful conversation. One of the last points is the Dandakaranya forest, because it's one of the Sri Ram spent 10 years in Dandakaranya forest, and 10 years he was these are the, you can say, if a large criminal kingdom is there of Ravan, then all his assistants were attacking Dandakaranya. He emptied that completely, and Sita Maya was with him all over the place. Sutikshna Rishi Ashram, Shatabringa Rishi Ashram, and all these
Correct.
places, Satna, Katni, Chitragut, and a little bit south you come. So all these places, Gaya, all these places are still there existing.
Correct.
So, my question to you, and I want to answer to the mythologists, is that if Sri Ram was a so-called a arrogant person, this is what again an allegation against Sri Ram by left wing, which is really left,
Mm.
and they continue to make these allegations. Why would Sri Ram travel on foot to meet all these great sages? Not because he was inspired to promote good karma or the good activities. So what do you answer to these mythologists when they say that he was just there to terrorize them to show his power?
Now see, as I told you, we need to look into history of a person. In fact, you see the Balkand. I have written in my book. In fact, you see Balkand. He did, he Balkand has a lot of events. In fact, but four primary events I would like to list down. That in Balkand itself, Sri Ram emerged as a world leader. He killed Tadka. He killed Marich and Subahu. No? Marich fled away. He killed Subahu, and he lifted the bow which the world could not probably shake it. In fact, he broke it, and then he defeated Parshuram also. If you read
That's right.
परशुराम को उन्होंने शस्त्र विहीन कर दिया. So
Shastra.
he defeated Parshuram also. As a student, now you see that none of these things he did by his own. An egoistic person will not is not an see ego and obedience are two opposing things. They are not supplementary to complementary to each other. Ego is Sri Ram is highly obedient. He doesn't know whom to marry. The Guru told, you do this, you get married, he is married. He has no choice. Or he doesn't impose his choice. That let me meet the girl, let me see, it is not my choice. You are imposing this marriage. I'm still, a learner, all those things. No ifs and buts. Guru told, he did. Guru told, he killed. Whatever was told, he did. Simply he did. This is not ego. This is obedience. That character he carries. If father has given a promise to somebody, I will go to it. Egoistic person, he will say, I am the elder. Who the hell is you have promised to the lady? She is asking me to go to jungle. Why should I go? This is 21st century thinking. Why should I go? Half of the property is mine. You give rest to the others, but I will not go to jungle.
That's right.
No, he left everything, and he wore an ascetic dress, and he maintained ascetic life in the jungle. That is why Sita's Agni Pariksha was possible there. Right? He maintained an ascetic life with Sita. He is the only kind of love. See, Sita Ram is only love in the whole world. That they lived an ascetic life for 14 years, and yet their love is never shaken. They live for each other. Today we remember this Sita Ram has become a mantra. It is not Romeo Juliet kind of love. It has become a mantra because the love is so deep. The love is about oneness of two people, not unity of two people, oneness of two people. So actually, even in Sita's exile, Sri Ram and Sita have never separated. They have already become one, much before, in fact. So people, if they don't look into this history of Sri Ram's character, they will not understand. Ego is far. Gita Purushottam, they say ahanta. The very first condition is ahanta, where ahankar is not there, absent. Ahankar is absent. That is the qualification of Sri Ram, first qualification of Sri Ram.
And also the character is very humble, because even though he was in the forest, he wore kavach, he wore all the arms, whatever is necessary. So he was ready to always protect dharma. This is a very important lesson that sometimes we have to be prepared. We may not use it, but his character was, he's extremely powerful. Only powerful men can show humility.
Correct, correct.
A person who is weak cannot show humility much. He has to be humble because somebody else is more powerful.
Correct.
And also the you mentioned a very good point about ahankar, because ahankar is one of the pathways to narak, and people forget about it. That the more you are stronger, the more you have to be humble, and the more bigger you are, that's like an ornament you can wear. And with that, we'll end the discussion. I love the discussion so much. And for viewers who are watching this show, The Last Chance by Chanchal Malviya. I like the name also, Chanchal Malviya. You can definitely go. Is it available on Amazon or?
So it will make it available next month.
Okay. But it is available through, you can search on Google and
Through me, through me, you can share my WhatsApp number with
sure.
people,
So if
on street.
yes, if you are interested, I will share your WhatsApp number in the scroll. You'll see in the scroll his number. You can contact him. And thank you, Chanchalji, for coming. And it's really inspiring talk. And I'd like to have this discussion continue because we have to debunk all these people who are worshipping Ravan here. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya ji. Nice talking to you.
Same here.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.